Welcome to Everstage's Codemasters Finance Fireside podcast. We interview GTM and finance leaders from today's most dynamic companies. Their unique insights, hard-earned lessons, and innovative visions are the stories we bring to you weekly. Joining us today is Terry Kim, Senior Director of Finance and Business Operations for Asia at Coupa Software. Thank you for being here, Terry. Could you please share a little bit about yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, thanks for having me. My pleasure being here. So, like you said, my name is Terry, based here out of Singapore. Professionally, I started my career back in the consulting days. So, with Accenture, straight out of school, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So, thought consulting was a good way to kind of see different industries, different functions, and the plan was 2 to 3 years. Go out of consulting, get off the road, go into industry. But that quickly became 7 years, and then before I knew it. I always wanted to go back to business school, so I left, went to NYU for my master's full time, and then as a part of that MBA experience, wanted to do something different. So spent a couple of years in banking and finance, working for UBS out of New York, and then eventually found my way back into consulting with A.T. Kearney, and then Capital One in an internal consulting role, and then been with Coupa Software now. About 9 years, based first in the U.S. and then moved to Singapore in 2019. So it's been quite a fun journey across multiple continents and multiple parts of the world.
Consulting seems to be a good platform for finance and operations. We've seen this pattern as well with several leaders when we do this podcast. You had a dynamic career across consulting, banking, and SaaS. What were some pivotal moments that helped shape your transition into finance and business operations leadership at Coupa?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been fortunate to have lots of different experiences in my kind of professional career, and that was by design, right? I wanted to build a broad base of knowledge and experience. Never said no to different projects in different industries, whether it was consulting with the U.S. government or semiconductor factories in Taiwan and everything in between. All of which I think provided me with a unique perspective, and that's for me has been what it's about. Just learn from everything's a learning experience. Everything there's something to be learned from any industry, any client, any function, and they all help you make you a better, more well-rounded individual and leader in whatever your career takes you. And that's kind of been my mantra and my kind of path to where I am today.
It's not random, it's by design. Very well put across, Terry. As a finance and ops leader, how do you think about operational maturity within a company? And this changes from company to company, right? And what signals tell you it's time to evolve systems, processes, or even talent strategy?
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer in kind of continuous improvement. So, I think regardless of your size, whether you're a 40-person startup or 40,000, 400,000, always room for improvement. I think, and as leaders, I think it behooves us, and the responsibility is on us to always look for areas of opportunity, whether it's again fine tuning processes or perhaps it's completely redoing the way your organization looks at something, whether it's talent or closing the books or go to market strategy, right? There's I think a good leader, especially in the pace of change in today's world, right? We see, I think it's ever increasing change, and again, as leaders, it behooves us to stay on top of that, question, always think about what could be better, and how do we refine what we do as a business with the end goal in mind. So never ending process. You're never done. You never mature. You never finish growing up.
There is always scope for improvement. You spoke about change. You've led transformation efforts at Capital One and drive execution at Coupa. What does successful change management look like in practice? This is going to be very, very difficult, right? And where do
Yeah,
most organizations struggle when moving from strategy to results?
yeah. No, and I think it is quite a struggle. And I think it's often overlooked, right? I think having done both kind of the strategy development and transformation execution, I think that's where you go from the science to the arts. I think change management and transformation really is an art, meaning there's no right or wrong, right? There's more than one answer. There's lots of gray, and you have to be comfortable with operating in the gray. It's about understanding everyone's appetite for change, right? No two people are the same. And then really making the case for change, right? What's in it for every one of your constituents, your stakeholders, whether it's your customers, internal customers or external, and thinking about how do I get there, right? And it's a crawl, walk, run approach, right? It's never just here you are today, you're going to do this tomorrow. It's how do we take incremental steps forward to get you to the end goal and be comfortable uh, pivoting along the way, right? It's crucial to think about, right? What you planned 6 months ago may change. So always kind of have your end goal in mind and be cognizant there's more than one way to get there, and be flexible and fluid.
Crawl, walk, and run, but always keep moving. Keep an eye open for changes. Be comfortable with the gray. Fantastic. How do you balance financial oversight with growth enablement in a global SaaS environment, especially when working with cross-functional teams across regions? You're based in Singapore now. I'm sure you're working with a lot of other stakeholders in multiple countries with a company like Coupa. So, how do you manage all of this?
Yeah, I think for me, it's I've learned it's about being open minded and inclusive, right? And again, it's not thinking about how do I put this process in place, and just because this process may work in one part of the organizational world doesn't mean it's going to work everywhere, right? So it's about being end goal or objective oriented, and so what do I mean by that is forget about the manner and means we may get there, right? Think about what is it you want to achieve, and then work backwards from there. Put together a process or procedures or combination of those that help you get there, right? And again, be inclusive, be open minded, be cross functional, right? Get input from everyone because I think you get to a better answer, with a more collaborative approach.
Of course, everything starts with objectives and keeping mind open and broad. Looking ahead, what excites you about the future of enterprise operations, particularly with the rise of AI? Everyone is talking about AI. So, what really excites you, and how should finance and operations? Because finance, of course, handles a lot of sensitive data. So, how do leaders start preparing for what is next?
Yeah. No, I think it's a fascinating question. I think we're just starting to see what AI can really do for organizations, right? Whether in finance or not. I think the future is to be determined, but I think any leader has to be cognizant again of just keeping abreast of how the world is changing, right? So having a point of view on AI, right? What role will AI play in my organization? And it's okay if it's changing every day, right? But at least you know you can't ignore it, right? It's here. It's here to stay. It's going to change all of our lives and all of our organizations, no doubt about it. So it's about getting in front of that again, being comfortable with the unknown in the gray, figure it out as you go, but you can't ignore it. And I think I think it's going to just I don't think it's going to be the transcending moment where all of us get replaced by machines, but we're all going to get more productive, and I think the nature of work will change. Right, a lot of maybe the tasks that we do every day can get automated or can get streamlined, which means we'll hopefully have time to work on the more exciting, the more challenging topics or challenges out there.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we discussed earlier as well. Embracing all the changes in front of us and just accepting it and moving forward. Are there any specific resources, books, or podcasts that you would recommend for someone looking to scale their career in finance?
Yeah, I can't say there's any book in particular, but it's I've gotten found great inspiration from a variety of books, whether it's biographies, autobiographies from other leaders, but also philosophy or history. Right, it's about kind of being well-rounded and thinking about right how do I learn from whatever the source may be, and how do I apply that to my career. But I think it's about actively managing your career. Don't wait for things to happen or hope that they happen. Right, kind of start with the end goal in mind. Where do you want to end up, and then right, how do I get there? Right, speak to as many people as possible. Ask for coffee chats, informationals. Try to just network yourself and get out there. That's really it's your career to manage and your journey. So don't let it happen to you. Kind of get in front of it.
three key pieces of advice you would like to share with the listeners who aspire to excel in the field of finance?
Well, I mean, yeah. First, you can't ignore the basics, right? And you do need a foundation in finance and accounting, right? If you do want to kind of be in this world, not to say you need to be a chartered accountant or anything, but you do need the basics. Um, Second is be open minded. Again, just because you're in finance doesn't mean your world is just about numbers or P&L statements or cash flow, right? Think about change management. Think about technology. How do you partner with HR, sales, um, marketing, right? Those are all functions that help any company kind of do what they do, right? Whether it's manufacturer or goods or services, provide services. So be mindful of that, right? Regardless of the function you sit in, there's you're just part of a broader machine. So how do you an ecosystem? How do where do you fit in, and how do you learn about all of the other functions as well? And then lastly, is just kind of be open to change, right? Again, whether it's your career, your organization, or disruptive technology like AI, right? What you do 10 years ago won't be what you do today or 10 years from now. So again, kind of always be a student, intellectually curious, think about how whatever may be going on in the world of technology or finance or SaaS, how that may change your career and your organization, and embrace it.
Finance is just not about numbers. That's a big one. Well, that brings us to the end of this insightful episode of Codemasters Finance Fireside. Big thanks to Terry for sharing his experiences and valuable insights. Remember, you can tune in every week to learn more from game changers driving hypergrowth companies across the globe. Go-to-Masters brought to you by Everstage, your trusted partner for transforming the way businesses handle sales commissions. I'm your host, signing off.